The sweet spot is super small compared to other rackets. It feels like a really cheap finish, like they haven't taken care properly of the branding in this area of the racket. 3D spin skin, this is marketing. They were not able to sell the rackets and they are just trying to get rid of them. The sound of these padel rackets, I do not like them at all. It's like if it was a bit, not dead, but a bit muted. The worst thing about these padel rackets is the Hi Padel drivers, how you doing? We receive so many questions every week in our Instagram page about Padel racket recommendations, so we have noticed this is a hot topic. Today we bring you a different video. We're going to be talking about a brand that we have tried recently and we didn't really like because of course these paddle weapons are pretty expensive and nobody likes to spend some money on something that doesn't suit us. We're going to be saying the things that we didn't like about these rackets and some other considerations that you might want to take into account when buying your padel racket. Before we start, I would like to say that I don't have anything personal against this brand. Indeed, it is a very big brand in other sports. It has a really well-established reputation. So we're just going to be talking about the padel rackets. Again, this is just my personal opinion from someone that has tried many different padel rackets. So, without further ado, this padel brand is Technifiber. The padel rackets that we've been testing are the Technifiber World Master 365, which is the number of days that you're going to be regretting buying this padel racket this year, and the Wall Breaker 365, or maybe I should call it the Wallet Breaker, because it's gonna break your wallet and you're not gonna see any improvement with this racket. Okay, jokes aside, the worst thing about these padel rackets is the maneuverability, especially for the Wall Breaker. Although it is 365 grams, which is not a lot, it feels extremely heavy. It is a really top heavy racket. It has a balance of 27.1 centimeters and it is really physical. Every time I pick it up, within 5 minutes, my forearm was completely burning. And take into account that I spend a lot of time every day on court. So if it takes me a really big effort to move it, it's probably likely that it will take you a really big effort to move it as well. So definitely not for beginners. The Wallmaster 365 feels a bit better, but still not the maneuverability that I would expect for a rounded racket. So, maneuverability not on point, and the Wall Breaker, the worst one. Second thing that I didn't like at all about these padel rackets is the sweet spot size, especially again for the Wall Breaker 365. If you notice, the gap between the head of the racket and the grip, it feels super big. What does this mean? In my opinion, the bigger this gap, the less feeling you have of the ball whenever you're hitting. So, hence, the sweet spot is gonna feel much smaller. Indeed, I saw that in previous models of the Wall Breaker, they didn't have this bridge over here, which made even more obvious that this gap was terribly big. I think the brand has implemented this bridge so that it doesn't look like this gap is so big. But the reality is that the feeling that I have when I play with this racket is that the sweet spot is super small compared to other rackets. Again, the Wall Master felt a bit better, the sweet spot feels a bit bigger, but still it wouldn't be the sweet spot size that I would expect for a rounded racket. Again, I feel like this gap is too big. It doesn't give you that feeling that you're looking for when you're playing padel. The third thing that I didn't like about these padel rackets, and this is something personal that doesn't affect the performance of the racket, is the lack of detail in some areas of the racket. So for example, if you take a close look on the grip, it feels like a really cheap finish, like they haven't taken care properly of the branding in this area of the racket. Like for example, I would put the logo of Technifiber there, and the Wall Breaker feels a bit nicer, but still, I think it lacks a bit of a brand identity that you associate with a brand like Technifiber. The fourth thing that I didn't like about this padel racket, and this is not something that happened just in Technifiber, it happens in almost every padel brand of the market, is the 3D spin skin that they call, right? This 3D finish that they're gonna be claiming that it gives you more spin whenever you are slicing or playing with top spin. But in my opinion, this is marketing, really. What it gives the spin to the ball is truly the Holz pattern. And I have to say that I like the Holz pattern. Like you can feel that you're able to grip the ball whenever you need to, but I just feel like the 3D spin is a bit of marketing. The Master has a sandy finish. I feel this one works a bit better. The problem with this one is that it wears off with time. You especially feel it when it's, for example, a bit humid, and if you don't have this like whole pattern, well designed, and a little bit of texture, you might feel like the ball is floating a bit when it touches your racket. So sandy finish, in my opinion, works a bit better, but the bad side is that it wears off with time. The only brand that has a 3D surface that I think it could work is Starby, because they have a really aggressive 3D layer on the top of the racket, and it is something that goes in the actual mold of the racket. It is not something that they put on top once the racket has been manufactured. The thing number 5 that I didn't like about this Padel brand is the price and consistency. You can check in the official website that the Wallmaster 365 is 219 euros. Okay, this was the price when they launched the racket. However, if you go to many different online shops, you can check that actually the actual price right now, for example, in this website is 89 pounds. And I think what this is really telling me is that they were not able to sell the rackets and they are just trying to get rid of them because they didn't sell as they should. And last thing that I didn't like about the Technifiber Padel rackets, and this is a personal opinion, is the sound. And it is quite unique for these Technifiber Padel rackets. I don't know if you can actually hear it. I'm gonna put it next to the mic. It's a bit muted. It is not telling you much feedback when you hit the ball in the sweet spot. And obviously, I think like all the Padel players, we tend to like Padel rackets with a nice sound. So the sound of these Padel rackets, I do not like them at all. Again, personal opinion. Especially when you are hitting overheads and you're playing a bit faster and you expect that beautiful sound that you hit the ball nicely, you don't get it with this racket. And it's like if it was a bit, not dead, but a bit muted, I think that's the word. I don't really like the sound and I don't really like the ball output of this racket. Again, we would like to emphasize that we don't have anything against Technifiber. We are aware that they are a really big brand. We know that the products that they make in other sports, they are really good quality. Our squash friends, they say that they are the leaders in the world of squash. So we're just talking about the Padel rackets. We really hope that they get better and better with more investment. And let us know, Technifiber, if you want us to test the new collection to see if there is a real difference, at least from our opinion. And what about you? Did you have the chance to try any of the Technifiber Padel rackets? I would be very interested in knowing your opinion. Please feel free to drop a comment down there. Also, you can send this video to your friend that plays with a Technifiber racket. I'm really keen to listen as many opinions as possible to see if people do agree or they have a completely different thought on this Padel brand. Also, I want to openly ask you if you ever had tennis elbow with these Padel rackets, because I think it's something that could potentially happen due to the maneuverability that we talk about. I do have a few friends that they've come to me and they told me that the elbow didn't feel very well when they were playing with the wall breaker. So please let me know. I want to know this information as well. And as always, thanks for watching this video. Hit the like button if you like this different content, and we can bring some more honest opinions about brands that we don't particularly like, or maybe the opposite, brands that we do like. So let us know in the comments as well if this is some kind of content that you find interesting. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. Vamos!